Welcome to the Taco Podcast. Jesus Christ.
I was getting my professional face on.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
No, you ruined it. I can't get it back.
All right. Welcome to the Taco Podcast. I'm Will.
I'm Crystal.
You're the audience.
He stole my line.
I did? Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to be covering embarrassing dates that we went on before we tied the knot. So, we've already decided Crystal is going to go first. She's going to tell an embarrassing story about a date she went on before we got married. And you're up.
Okay, so... there's two of them. I'm going to share one, time allowing. Might share the second one, might not. So, embarrassing date that I went on before we got together. So, those of you who are dinosaurs like Will and I might recall back before the internet was all huge and big, and we had the old bulletin boards and stuff like that. So I'm on one of those, and I'm just chatting with people, and I run into a guy that I had gone to grade school with, and we were actually pretty good friends in grade school. And so we get talking, we're talking for a couple of days, and he's like, hey, we should totally go get lunch, blah, 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 blah. The first embarrassing factor of this date is that I didn't realize it was a date. I assumed I didn't.
That's not good. If you don't realize it's a date, or if one person doesn't realize it's a date.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Start
like
off on an awkward footing there.
Yeah, he was all casual about it, like, we should go get lunch. Oh, we should, catch up. We're two people, we were friends in grade school, and reconnecting in high school, and I just thought that it was just too...
So you were in high school when this happened?
I was in high school when this happened. Like I said, I figured it was just two people who were friends in high school, or friends in grade school, getting together now that we're in high school, and just catching up, right? Didn't realize it was a date. And so he picked me up, and then first off, he takes me to the drive-thru at McDonald's. Doesn't scream date to me either, so I think that we're still
That's a big spender. Well, but maybe finances were tight.
Might have been.
I don't want to make fun of him too much for that.
It might have been tight.
I've heard the rest of the story. You're gonna love this.
High school's not. Most people aren't raking in the big bucks, so
right.
I don't want to shit on somebody for going. But if you're gonna take somebody for a first date, which is what this was, only date. But first date for what this was, you're not going to take him to a fast food place. Or if you are, you're going to set that caveat first, like, hey, really want to go out with you. I got the $10, so dollar menu. And I'm a cheapskate. Even back then I was a cheapskate, so I would have been all about the dollar menu. Anyway, so we're in the drive-thru. Now, I've worked fast food at this point, so...
Did you work at that McDonald's?
I did not work at this McDonald's,
okay.
But I had worked at another one.
All right.
And this asshole starts revving his engine to purposely make it so the gal on the other end can't hear him. And then he's making fun of her, and he's laughing at her, and he's looking over at me like I'm going to be another joke, and I'm just like, I hate you so much right now. And if I was on the other end of that drive-thru speaker... So anyways, yeah, I'm so uncomfortable. But I'm also stuck in this guy's car, right? So, you're my ride home. Oh, God, I'm still angry. It's been 20 years. I'm still mad. Over 20 years.
Wow.
Still mad at this guy.
Let it go. Let it go.
That working in the service industry is hard, and people don't understand that. Like, I work a very technical job right now. And beforehand, before I worked this currently job that I did, I worked a fairly demanding, fairly technical job, and I have never worked harder physically than I did when I worked in the fast food industry. And I have never been more mistreated by the people I was taking care of. People are just like, where's my 10-piece nugget? Well, you didn't order any nuggets. I ordered nuggets! You didn't order any nuggets, you asshole. Get out of my face. I've got other shit to do.
Wow.
Yeah. Or, I soaked my napkin in ketchup and then I just left it right in the middle of this table. Ha ha ha. You're not funny. You're just a dick who's never had to work a day in your life. Anyway, so I'm in the, I have opinions.
You progress.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're in the drive-thru. He's messing with this gal. We finally get the food. Now we're in the park, and I'm just like, haha, let's eat this so I can go home. And the dude tries to do the whole,
Trying to get lucky, huh?
Yeah, and I'm just like, boop, boop, boop. I'm up against the window. I've got I'm like, got my soda and everything. Like, it was probably one of the most awkward and uncomfortable times I've ever been in my entire life. And like I said, I'm stuck in this guy's car, and I could have hoofed it home. It would have taken me a while, but I could have done it. And I was giving serious consideration to just opening the door, falling out, and then making my way back home on my own.
Were the little knobs still in the door?
Yeah, the knobs were still in the door.
Was there a handle?
There was a handle, yeah.
I mean, these are things you got to consider when you get into a strange man's car.
Yeah, it wasn't...
I mean, I hear. I've never done it myself. I mean, I hear about it.
Maybe I shouldn't be embarrassed about it, but I'm very embarrassed about the fact that I didn't realize it was a date, first off. And I'm also embarrassed about the fact that I was such a poor judge of character that I was just like, yeah, let's go get lunch. And then I'm in this car with this human being that I don't have any desire to be around for any length of time.
Wow. That is an awful date.
It was the second worst one I've ever been on.
Well, wait until you hear mine. All right. So mine takes place shortly after I had just gotten out of the service. Now, I had been gone for just a little over 4.5 years at that point from this area. I used to live in this area where we live in now. I was gone for about 4.5 years, and I had to come back here to take care of my mother, who was in a tragic car accident, and she's messed up for the rest of her life. She still is. But I had to come back here because we were having a huge issue because she has emotional outbursts, and I'd come down here. I'd gotten her into a group home, and I gotten her situated. I went back to my life, and I was trying to put things back together as in a civilian world, and so I only knew a couple of people here in town. I didn't know anybody at all, and these people who I knew one was an ex-girlfriend who I dated in high school, who I was still in contact with. We're still great friends to this day, and my sister. Otherwise, I didn't know anybody really who was here. I had a couple of acquaintances, friends who were in and out of the area, but they didn't live here full time. So, to give you context to what's going on here. So, I had to come back to this area to live, to get my mom situated and take care of her finances and everything else. While I was here, and I had just gotten an apartment, and it was just a little studio apartment, not much to it at all. Didn't have a job, didn't have anything at that time. I just had my savings, and I was waiting on my last check from the U.S. government. So I was, kind of putting everything together, paperwork and getting everything set up, and I had, all that stuff. Wouldn't matter.
That must have been a really trying time for you. You've got all that going on, just getting out of the service, taking
care
of your mom.
Yeah, it wasn't the happiest time of my life, to say the least. And there's more to it than you understand, but we're not going to share that in this story here as well. So I'm at home, and a friend of mine, an old friend of mine I knew from grade school, high school. I had reconnected with him, and we would go out occasionally and have a couple beers, but then I would never hear from him again. I would I could text him or send him a message or whatever at that time, and half the time he never responded back. And then I'd just randomly see him again, and he'd sit down next to me, and we'd have a couple more beers, and then gone again. He just vanished in and out of my life. Well, one night, I just happened to be sitting in a local bar, that's pretty popular. It's a sports bar. He comes up and sits down, and and he tells me, he goes, "Hey, you know what? He started dating this lady," and I'm like, "I don't know her, never heard of her before. She didn't seem to have any contact with any friends that I had in high school, and he wants to set me up on a blind date with her sister." And I'm like, "Well, I'm really not into blind dates, but I guess I will." I mean, I have, at this point in time, the only car I had was my mother's, which was a Chevy Citation, and it was the biggest POS car that that Chevrolet has ever built. But it was transportation until I got all my finances in order here. I mean, I had barely anything to live by on, to get by. So I'm like, fine. He says, I'm going to set up a blind date for you, and she's going to, I'll work out all the details and, and text you, back and get a hold of you, let you know when, it's going to be and everything else. And I'm like, sounds good to me. It's always nice to meet somebody else, even if the date doesn't work out. At least I'll know somebody else locally, I mean, because a good span of time, people don't necessarily stick around, and you don't know how, even if they do, you don't know how to get a hold of them. So he sets up the date. He thought that he was texting one sister, and he ended up texting and sending the messages to another sister, because his girlfriend has, there are three sisters total. He's dating the middle sister. He's trying to set up a date with me, and a blind date with me and the older sister, who is a couple years older than him. So she would be like right around the same age as me, maybe a year younger than me. But he ends up setting up the date with the youngest sister. I go to the location where I'm supposed to be meeting her for this date, which happens to be a bar, which is attached to a bowling alley. I go there. I'm there on time. I'm ready for the date and everything else. I sit down. I order a drink, and I wait, and I wait, and I wait, and she never shows up. And I'm thinking, well, I just got stood up on this blind date. Great. I'm off to a rocking start. Getting back into the dating circle here in this community. So I get ready to leave this date, walk out, and there she is, standing outside the door, because I had a picture of her, so I walk out the door, and I'm like, why are you here in the parking lot? Why didn't you come in to meet me? And she's like, well, I can't. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, now I'm embarrassed. I'm thinking, my gosh, he set me up on a date with somebody who is in recovery, and she doesn't want to go inside of a bar. I mean, I'm like, damn, this is a terrible place for him to set up this blind date. And she goes, no, I can't come into the bar because I'm not 21. I'm only 18. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? He's like, yeah. And she tells me she's 18 years old. And I'm like, you're 18 years old. Now, I'm in my late 20s at this point in my life. He sets up this date. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I say, we exchange words and everything else. I ask her if she has a ride. Her friend is inside, so she doesn't have to worry about a ride. I, apologize for all this and everything else. And I leave. And I get home, and the very first thing I do is I pick, didn't have, I had a cell phone, but I picked up a freaking landline. I called this guy up. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? You set me up on a blind date with an 18-year-old? He's like, 18-year-old? No, her sister's like 26. And I'm like, no, I think you're mistaken there. She says that she's 18. He goes, there's no way she's 18. She has a 26-year-old sister, and she has a 15-year-old sister. And I'm like, say what? Yeah,
That's
she has
so
a
bad.
15-year-old sister and a 26-year-old sister. And I'm like, wait a minute. She said she was 18. And doing a little bit of research through friends and everything else, she told me she was 18, but she lied. She was 15 years old. I got set up on a blind date with a 15-year-old girl.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
That is an embarrassing date. Would you like to tell another one?
So bad.
Da, 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 da,
Oh
da.
my god. I mean, I do feel kind of bad for your friend, because he was trying to do
Yeah, that
you a
ended
solid.
our friendship right then and there.
Um,
He says it was all by mistake. That he was trying to text the older sister, get a hold of her and send messages to her. And I'm like, oh.
That's so bad.
Yeah. And he set me up on a date with a 15-year-old girl. Yeah, just think of the trouble I would have went in if I would have just taken his word for it and went out on this date with a 15-year-old. But hey, you're up. You
I don't know if it counts as an embarrassing date, but I was going to talk about that at the other time.
I was embarrassed.
No. I meant the one I was going to share.
I
would
mean,
be embarrassed as shit. I would probably never.
She probably thought she won the lottery.
Move to Alaska.
Here's a guy who's got a car, and I didn't look like this when at that age. I was chiseled.
What, you mean you didn't have a
beard
that was all gray? And...
Well, I had almost no hair on my head at all.
He's not kidding about the chiseling, by the way. Yeah.
I looked a heck of a lot better than this, and I didn't have any of these tattoos or anything back then either.
So. We met. When did we meet after that? How long after that?
A month.
A month after
that.
A
month after that. And the first place, her and her friends come to pick me up. We're gonna all go out as a bunch of friends on a date. All right.
Right.
And my sister is in this little scenario here.
Was it a date? We weren't dating.
No, we weren't dating.
You were an asshole.
They come. Oh wait, no. You'll understand. Here's the context of that. All right. They come to pick me up, and when I get in the car to go with them, they tell me we're going to the same place where this awful date had taken place a month prior. They're going to take me to the bar at this bowling alley where all that happened. And I'm like, oh, hell no. No. I don't want to go anywhere near this place.
You didn't say anything. You were just being a jerk.
I wanted out of the car. I was thinking, if it wasn't in the back seat of a Volkswagen Super Beetle that she owned, I would have leaped through the window or out the door myself when I found out where they planned on going. I'm like, what is wrong with this community where everybody wants to take me to this bowling alley?
It's fun. There's a bar, there's bowling, there's cheese fries. It's got everything.
No. So the circumstances of it all, I was just like,
so bad.
No. No, I don't want to go near this place.
This is another weird part to that. So I picked up my best friend, and we're driving. And I was like, so who else is going? And she says, we're gonna go pick up. I don't know if I say your sister's name, are you gonna have to edit it out? I don't know how that works.
No, you can go ahead, say her name.
He goes, so we're gonna go pick up Laura's brother. I said, Laura? Which Laura? She tells me, I was like, Laura doesn't have any siblings. Now, keep in mind, I've known Laura since junior high school, right? Now, at this point, I'm, obviously over 21 because we're going to a bar. I don't remember exactly how past 21 I was. Not into 22 yet, so that gives you that. So, so we're driving to go pick. I was like, Laura doesn't have any siblings. No, Laura has a lot of siblings. Laura has 4 siblings, and I've known Laura since junior high school. I have stayed at her home. There was no evidence of siblings. So, I go to pick this guy up. Turns out he's Laura's brother. They've got additional siblings.
Yeah. There are quite a few of us.
Yeah, there was. It's like, how the fuck did she hide like a whole family? Where were you? Out partying.
Well, by the time you guys were in junior high school, I was either in the service or in college. I can't remember. I'd have to put the timelines next to each other. Well, all right. You have another embarrassing story you'd like to share?
Oh shoot, where was I? Because I was going to share the one, but I decided to share something different. I lost my train of thought because I was talking. Where did it go?
Want to tell a story about you dating a married man?
In my defense, didn't know he was married.
Oh, now it's getting interesting, Nicole Kissinger.
So I did date a married guy for a little while. I found out after we had been dating for a while that he was married. I feel like that's first date information. Like there's some stuff.
Or pre-first date.
Yeah. Like
I'll just throw it out there. Usually it's a helpful thing.
You definitely need to get that out there.
Yeah.
I'd met her wife, or met his wife.
What?
She was lovely. Yeah.
Oh, before we went on a date?
No, while we were dating.
Oh, wow.
They lived together still.
So
And
like they separated? I mean, or they just open? Maybe
No.
they're like a swinger couple or something.
yeah,
like that.
that's what actually it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this story's getting juicy. Now.
I'd gotten a call from a gentleman that might be, I don't know. Just because I'm still mad at him a little bit for that doesn't mean that he deserves me to drag him. So I'd gotten a call from a guy I used to date, and he says he wants to set me up on a date with this guy he knows. He's a great guy. I'm going to love him. And I'm like, I don't know. I liked you a lot, too. And look how that turned out. But anyway, so I'm like, you know what? Okay. I'll get on a date with him. Can't be worse than the day some of the dates I've been on. So dude shows up, and he has flowers. He's like the first guy I've dated that brought flowers on the first date. I was like, who are you? Psst. Come on inside, meet my mom, and get peed on by her cat. This is my home.
Really?
The cat only actually ever peed on one person, and honestly, I think it was a good choice. He peed on Dave.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, comes in, talks to my mom, meets the cats. We go out. It's a great first date. It's awesome. We continue dating for a while. I go to his house. I meet his roommate.
Roommate as in his wife?
Yeah, that
Wow.
is. Yep, that was his wife. And they were, I guess shopping. So we'd been dating for a little while, and then he clues me in on the fact that they're
A little while. What does that mean? Like a month?
3 months.
Three months.
We've been dating for 3
You've
months.
been dating 3 months.
I think closer to 2. I think closer to 2. When he lets me know that they're actually married, and they're looking for an additional person. And I was like, well,
Wow.
good luck with that. And that's a no.
That.
Not that there's anything wrong with
So
that.
basically,
by the way. If you're into that, that's fine. But that's like first date information. You don't want to pick somebody up, date them for a while, and then be like, so multiple people. Feel like you should because like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's if everybody is consenting and everybody is into, you knock yourselves the fuck out. Enjoy the shit out of that. But not everybody is. And not letting them know up front is kind of disingenuous. It's actually really disingenuous. And I didn't talk to the guy who set me up on that date for a year.
A year?
A year.
Wow, you still talk to that person?
Every couple of years, check in, see how he's doing.
I wouldn't talk to that person ever again. Hey, dude, you set me up on a date, blind date with somebody who is married? I mean, what?
In his defense, he told me after I got over being pissed at him that he thought that that I had known significantly.
So he thought
earlier.
you were into that. Well, that's lovely, and you still want to talk to that person. That'd be like me talking to the guy who set me up on a date with a 15-year-old.
No. This would be like you talking to somebody that you dated a while back, and then you realized that things weren't working out, and then they did something a while back that really, really pissed you off, and then you were like, okay, well, maybe.
Did you date the person who set you up on this date?
Yeah, we had dated beforehand.
Oh, so an ex of yours set you up on a date with a married man who was a swinger. That sounds like great advice. Take a date from well, you know what? Thank you for help. No.
Well, I didn't go on any more blind dates that he set me up on.
I
after
wouldn't
that.
either. I wouldn't either. The next date after that was going to be with the serial killer.
Yeah, his judgment was definitely a little on the skewed side. But
yeah, I would say so.
With a couple of exceptions, I do still. If I dated somebody, I obviously cared about them at least a little bit. And just because things didn't work out for us doesn't necessarily mean that I don't wish the best for them and want them to be happy in their life.
Yeah,
Even if I did want to stab them in the genitals with a garden trowel.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, except for a couple of ex-girlfriends of mine. I don't ever want to see any of them or hear from the other ones ever again. I mean, there's a reason why they are my exes. I mean,
Yeah.
either they were awful people. They lied to me. They did something to me that hurt me to the point where I said that I'm done. And I don't want to be, and I certainly wouldn't take dating advice or one of them to set me up on a date. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I did, I would have been dead years ago because they would probably sent me out to the middle of the desert somewhere, where someone is going to like chop me in pieces and feed me to a tank full of piranhas.
I think pigs would probably be easier.
Pigs would definitely be easier, but
Yeah.
we don't have too many pig farms around here.
Well, no, but if you just drive up like 2-3 hours, there's plenty of them.
Oh well, I guess I should have thought about that.
Really, it's all logistics.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for us today. All right, the other topics that have been suggested to us for future podcasts, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more that have been suggested. But again, if you have a suggestion that for a topic you'd like to see us cover, put it down in the comments section down below because we're trying to make this as informative and as interesting to you and everyone else who watches. I mean, for example, our last podcast, we had over 160 people watch the podcast the first 24 hours after it was uploaded last time, and yet we didn't get a single suggestion. And the suggestions we have been getting, and we thank everyone for them, have been the same suggestions, and we will cover them, and I have them written. No, you can't see it though. There's actually writing. There's writing on there. There it is. There's actual writing on here. I have them all written down, so they're on here. But thank you again. Any last words that you'd like to express to our community?
Don't take dating advice from exes.
This is true. Do not take dating advice from exes. It's never going to work out great.
No.
Or friends who want to set you up on a date. Maybe just stay away from blind dates altogether. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
Until next time.